No, I don't. Literally,
the point
I don't care.
is, let's be nice.
Okay. Literally, I don't care. I'm just saying I didn't do what you accused me of doing. So, about a week ago...
Okay.
Big C pics.
Do you have to say that? Do you have to say that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so shut the fuck up. Let's just move on.
Okay.
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 Maybe I missed it.
Okay.
You could say, like, here's the thing. You bro me. You're supposed to go, oh, you may have missed it. I said about a week ago. Don't be so fucking defensive.
Okay.
It's unfeminine.
All right. Okay.
I just want to say, I did say that.
Okay.
But say it again. Do it again. Do it again right here. Do it. Do it.
Say it again.
Say it again. It's just that I did say it. Just do that. Do that thing that these women do.
I'm not going to say that. So Adam, a kick streamer, about a week ago, we met him in about a month ago, we met him in California. We've had a whole arc with him. About a week ago, he calls into our stream to discuss addiction with my dad. Now, that conversation my dad and Adam have had before.
Is that what it was about?
I think vaguely. The conversation was generally about his addiction. And then you started saying there obviously are problems with him living at home.
I think it had
Remember that?
I think it had to do with what we had sort of stimulated a conversation about rehab, right?
Yes.
Or about his living situation not being a good one. Because we had attempted to analyze what was going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, I think he was calling in to say, you don't understand it. He wasn't calling in because he was inquiring about alcoholism.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like a follow-up.
Yeah, yeah.
Because because we had analyzed him and his dad going out on a certain night.
Yeah.
We had done a deep dive.
And our conclusion was that he associates...
Thank you, General Brandito. Exactly.
Grace,
fucking
please
back
stop.
is killing me.
Ben has enough stress.
Yeah. Chill out, bitch. Okay.
And basically we had said that Adam's alcoholism is associated with him being at home. And and we came to find out he's never lived away from his parents, et cetera, et
Well,
cetera.
my main thing of that analysis was like, how is Adam's dad letting him have a fifth at home?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then going out with him, like, not the going out part being so wrong, but like this seems enabling, right?
Right.
And I understand it's complicated, but I was like, that just seems like you should put your foot down. There's not enough like kind of putting your foot down.
Right. And Adam was
he
arguing,
wanted to call in to say it's not about that. My dad's a great guy. It's alcoholism. And then I made the point that while you were in rehab, alcohol still existed. You as someone with full civil rights could have left rehab and gone and gotten booze.
Right, and he didn't.
But you didn't, and you were super healthy. So, like, maybe there's a problem. It seems like there's an association, like, mathematically, with, like, being at home and drinking. The only time you've not been at home, you weren't drinking.
Right.
And you were fairly healthy. Although I have, like, a lot of problems with rehab. But
then, because you were saying that his dad was enabling, his dad actually came into the kick chat, his dad, Joe, Adam's dad, Joe, and asked to call in.
yeah.
So he called in on the phone and had a very, I would say, civil conversation with you, even though we had been kind of talking mad shit.
I was talking shit about his dad, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if his dad had seen it, but I previously...
No, he had.
The analysis
he referred to
stream? Oh.
He referred... Well, I don't know exactly what you're talking... Oh, God.
I was saying when I told Adam that his dad was kind of like a loser that he shouldn't take so seriously. I don't know if he saw that particular stream, but...
Well, I think my analysis was fundamentally that your parents are using you somehow to not deal with their own issues with each other. That your mother doesn't respect your dad and your dad hates her for that, but like that now they've taken you, your gay brother, everyone's lining up on one side or the other, and that this is not your issue. And I wasn't really saying that Joe was like a loser, but I was just saying like, I think we were trying to encourage him to like have a little bit less of a like worshipful attitude towards his dad.
Yeah.
And understand that he's just a person, maybe has some flaws. Maybe those flaws, instead of being able to laugh at them or understand them, Adam is taking them as like his, like he needs to defend his dad's whatever.
Yeah.
And
ego.
he should take it less seriously.
Right.
We weren't really Joe bashing, but we were doing some Joe bashing along the way. Okay.
So Joe calls in. Adam's dad calls in. He's like 60 years old. He's a millionaire. Okay, this is just...
He's a successful builder. Yeah.
Construction guy.
Yeah, true.
And he calls in and, my dad, I think you would say you were confrontational with him a little bit. And then Adam's dad basically says, like, look,
I was just saying, like, do you see the point? Your son's like, it's not like a minor thing. Your son is drinking heavily, has had pancreatitis to the point that he's been in the hospital for several weeks. And Joe, don't you think it would be worth trying something else? Like, this isn't working. So maybe he needs a change of pace. Can't you see that? Because wouldn't you hate to have something terrible happen and then you say, like, I didn't do all I could do. I was kind of too soft. Yeah.
And Adam's dad was like, well, I don't want to throw him out on the street because if he dies out on the street, I would feel worse about that.
I would say that Joe was engaged in a kind of binary of either he's going to, like, he's got to go to rehab, $15,000 a week, apparently, which he said he was willing to pay. Or he's got to be at home because the only other alternative is I think he was saying, if I put some lines here, I think Adam basically uses, I think he has experienced Adam using, what Adam will do is go, oh, fine, you reject me. I'm going to go get drugs. I'm going to go spend the night on Skid Row with a bunch of crazies in L.A. Mm-hmm. And then Adam says, like, okay, well, I'm not going to have you do that. So
Adam's dad, you mean?
Adam's dad, maybe.
Yeah.
So Adam sets it up like, if I don't have things my way, I will sometimes do things. Once I went to rehab, but if I don't want to go back, I put you in a position where it's either like I'm on the streets and I'm going to spend like night after night, and he will do that.
Yep.
Right.
He will actually do it.
Or you take me back and I'll try, but not really. And I understand that Adam's dad is like, okay, yeah, like that is how it goes. That's how it's gone. So he's not exactly being like a simp, because I do think Adam does do this, right?
Yeah.
If he feels even in the slightest rejected, he does like bottom out, and he doesn't seem to care about his life or anything, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
I'm not sure exactly how it came about, but
then we turned the tables and said, like, what is Adam doing here? Why is Adam using his own life as like a weapon to force his parents to like be complicit in his own like sort of suicide?
Right.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Seems to me like you should be able to.
I think so. I know that Kik is like sensitive about that stuff, but I think it's more like telling somebody to do that. Yes, and we also said, like, Adam, you should man up, and if you want to self-delete, at least don't do it in your parents' house, so your mom has to walk in and find you with the bottle, and she has to, like, kill herself for the rest of her life. Like, why didn't I do more?
And I didn't say this at the time, but I do understand why, like, rehab is demeaning towards especially men.
Why?
Well, and it's also cold, right? Like, none of these people really care about you.
Oh.
They're doing a job.
Yeah, sure.
They're looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them care about what they're doing, but it's kind of cold and clinical and sort of like it's a business. And it's also kind of this weird thing where we're saying, like, it's like a fake reality where it's like you can't leave. It's a little bit demeaning to say, like, okay. It's kind of a fake kind of prison, right? Benevolent prison. That costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And there is some truth to like, well, I mean, if you don't ultimately, I mean, Adam's dad is right. If you want to kill yourself by drinking, there's nothing anyone can do to stop you. So
right. But so the concept of
rehab
Adam
doesn't really work very much.
Yeah.
And the type of people it works for largely would clean themselves up anyways. But
so the concept of Adam getting an apartment, because he's never lived away from his parents except for when he went to rehab for 90 days, and he was 27 years old, came up. And I'm not sure exactly how it got suggested.
Like, I would say, Grace, like Adam has other problems other than just like drinking. Like, for example, we saw in our brief interactions with him, like he really doesn't have the ability to, or like has real problems doing minor tasks.
Yeah.
That someone who says they have a background in construction shouldn't have. I mean,
it's true.
And also, I would say even prior to that, like just a basic, like difficulty listening to someone giving him instructions. Okay, so in many ways, he looks like a spoiled brat. And I do understand when Joe says, like, Adam doesn't have to work and neither do his kids. It's kind of like, that's a kind of odd thing to say about your son.
Yes.
Because it's kind of seeing work as negative. And I do sense a little bit of that from Adam's dad, that like he made it, he kind of succeeded so his kids could not have to have the tough stuff that he grew up with, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew that I know that from teaching at Bishop Hendricken, which is a private school, private Catholic school, which the demographic of was almost, well, it's not an elite school, so it's not like the people who have had multi-generational wealth.
Yeah.
Many of the parents were people who made it like in the concrete industry or construction or something like that, and rose from like relatively impoverished beginnings in like the ethnic ghettos to a point where they could send their kids to private school and they had a nice house in the suburbs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids were spoiled. And their dads were like, I want you to have a good time if you drink, and they were also like Irish and Italian, Portuguese, right? So they have this kind of like, the American thing is too pure. Like they're not puritanical. They're like,
right.
Have fun with the girls. I want you to have the childhood that I didn't have, that I sacrificed so you could have it. That's
right.
Same problem actually of kids in the 50s and the early 60s. Like, so their dad came back from fucking World War II. That is some crazy shit. And all of them had lived through the Great Depression. That was some horrible shit, right? And so now, post-war, they've got all this money. Things are good. They got the GI Bill. And we want to give our kids a fun childhood. So have fun with the girls. You know what I mean? Like, after what I've seen in fucking... in Western Europe, like, get your dick wet, son, have fun, but be careful, right? And so those kids were kind of spoiled. That's the boomer generation.
They became the boomers, yeah.
I'm not saying that's all of them, but like largely those are the kids who ended up at Woodstock, who ended up saying, love, not war, and all that kind of stuff. So, and then you had a whole generation of like, kind of Bill Clinton type people who I get it,
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice impulse from your parents to say that.
The Princess of Power says,
girl boss.
If my brother, anyways, actually said, I don't have to work because of my dad's money, my dad would cut us off instantly, LMAO. But okay, Rini, but you have to say here, that did not come from Adam. That came from his dad saying, like, that's how wealthy I am, that not only he would never have to work, but that his kids would never have to work. And what I'm saying is like that reflects a kind of negative view of work, which from a Catholic, they're Catholic, right? You can say certain types of drudgery are like demeaning and, not good. But especially for men, learning skills and working are essential to develop into a man.
Right.
You should.
Right.
And so in Adam's defense, the fact that he had, I mean, I really don't think he was faking it when it was putting that bar on, which you then later put on, right? Or at least you had OPC put it on.
No, I put it on.
Oh, okay,
I installed that whole bike rack.
It was like at the level of, like, that was basically at the, like, the adult version of putting, like, those little things, like the things that fit, like, in daycare, you know what I mean? Matching up the square with the square.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you sit there and try to put it in a circle, they send you to the special ed place.
Yeah.
And he was unable to get that, but largely because there was a primer. I don't think he's so out of it that he couldn't see, like, you know what I mean? It had this, like, shape like this. And obviously that conformed to the door and he flipped it around or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't even think he can focus on a task like that when there's someone who is telling him to do that and he's on camera. I think he's embarrassed.
I believe, yeah.
I think that causes him to drink. Okay. Now, I think he should blame whoever it is that's been, like, that didn't. I think that's a parental problem. But then at a certain point, when you're 27, you haven't said, like, you know what? I'm going to say no to the. Do you know what I mean? So he was out on a job. He said he worked with his dad in construction for 4 years. I didn't see any evidence of that. And when he came back from rehab, he was like, oh, yeah, he was going with me to work. But I think when he goes, I think his dad, I'm not sure. Either the workers kind of defer to Joe and they're like, okay, yeah, your job is to sit there on the side. And they say, like, yeah, he did a great job.
Right.
Or he protects them. And so they learn, like, don't push him. Right?
Yep.
So for whatever reason, and I understand this as workers, they're saying, like, my concern is to, like,
keep my job.
I don't want to piss the guy off in charge, but he's not, he should say whatever it takes. Don't treat him any different than anyone else on the job.
Right.
And if he fucks up, he gets fired like anyone else on the job. I doubt that's how he comes at it.
Well, Adam did a stream at his dad's
and that can
job
seem
site.
like love. That can seem like love. Like, okay, yeah, like I've gotten to a place where I'm on top so that my family members can be treated special. But that kind of being treated special backfires. I remember I had a kid, and I'm sorry to cut you off, which I did.
That's fine.
I had this fat kid. He was funny, but I mean, this is why these guys are funny. Like these kids. I had this fat kid. His name was Tony, of course.
In school, when you were teaching.
In school, right, as a student. And I knew him for a few years. And he was a funny kid. Everyone, thought he was hilarious. But he's, of course, fat. And also, like, he told me as, like, graduation was nearing that he had never read a book his whole time there. Which is not really his fault because, like, the teachers should somehow, but his parents also should have a culture where reading a book is, like, a good thing, Tony, right?
Hey, Mr. Thorp.
But, yeah, he was one of those guys. And he's like, even when I did my entrance exam, right, which you only, like, they only cut out, like, the bottom 5% ever. It's like if you're, like, brain dead or you don't even write your name on the paper, you don't get in. Wasn't hard to get in, but he just openly said, like, he found a kid who looked smart next to him and said, like, hey, and he just copied that kid's entrance exam the whole way through. Now, him saying that would actually jeopardize, technically, him being in the school at all, right? A school should really say, like, even though, like, no one asked him, like, they should make an example of him and go, like, if that's true, Tony, then you're expelled. You got to hinder